Y'all, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the Jada Toys Cut Man figure. Alright, so Cut Man first appeared in the video game Mega Man #1 from 1987. He was created by Dr. Light to be a timber-felling robot. His special weapon is the rolling cutter made of ceramic titanium. He is known to be very cunning, very stubborn, and doesn't like to listen to others. He likes paper cuts and haircuts and is extremely bad at rock, paper, scissors. And all of this information is according to megaman.fandom.com. The box art is fantastic. It looks like Mega Man video game art, and that's really cool, but we're not here to talk about that. Let's go ahead and get this figure free from its plastic prison and see what we think about Cut Man. Fresh out the box, y'all, I am extremely taken with Cut Man. I love this character design, and I think Jada Toys knocked it out of the park yet again with this line, and especially this character. The colors and the different plastics and the sculpt, all of it come together and just really show you that Jada Toys knows what they're doing and are just making my toy collecting dreams come true. The different plastics, like I've said on all the different Mega Man video game figures, really help to bring these characters to life and give them a dimension that you don't necessarily think of until you see it in practice, and it just totally makes a world of difference, because the way the light catches on his chest and upper leg areas is different than how his forearms and his boots catch the light, and that juxtaposition really just further brings this character to life and makes it a better figure, in my opinion. The colors that they're using for these figures are excellent. Like, they just pop and work so well in conjunction and in contrast with one another. And then the facial expressions are fantastic. I love both faces on this figure. The frowning, unamused, focused face, and then also the smirking, side-eyed, open mouth kind of face. Oh, they're fantastic. And they breathe life into these figures and just add a whole other level of playability and enjoyment to these characters and these figures. On the back, you've got some extra sculpt things where you've got like a sort of ventilation thing on his back, and then also on the back of the helmet, which is really cool. I love the, for lack of a better term, ears on the side of his head. It really helps him to stand out. But I literally just realized as I'm saying this that those might be the parts that you put your fingers through on the scissors that are attached to his head. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe there's something in the fandom that actually does say that, but now I can't unsee it. I just thought he had, like, scissors on the top of his head. I didn't think that they needed the hand things because that's not necessarily how he uses them. But now that I'm looking at this figure and I see those ears and the fact that it's not just a solid piece, that there's actually like a hole there, so it's like a semicircle, that's making me think that, yeah, these were the hand grip parts of the scissors. There's probably a technical term for this, but I can't think of it right now. But it makes me love this character even more. And then also the way that the light hits the shears on the top of his head just, again, goes to the difference in the way that the different plastics work together and catch the light and then catch your eye and make it all pop and work together is just fantastic. The figure has substantial weight to him, so he feels appropriately sized and for his weight. He looks great and he feels great and he moves pretty good. So yeah, I am very taken with this figure, and once again, I feel like Jada has knocked it out of the park. So Cutman comes with 2 interchangeable heads, 4 interchangeable hands, 2 fists, 1 grippy hand, and then 1 open fingered hand, and an effects stand. And if you want to count the shears on his head that are removable and can be held and switched on and off his head, then you can count that as well. All right, now let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of Cut Man. So starting at the head, this is a removable part, so you can take it out, but I think that I'm going to count it still. So you can twist this all around if you need to, but he's also got some chomping, and also it kind of like tilts a little bit this way. It doesn't tilt that way for some reason. But yeah, so there's that. You got 360 at the head, he can look up a decent amount, and he can look down quite a bit, which is really cool. He's got some side-to-side motion as well, so a fair amount of range in the neck. He's got a 360 at the shoulder. He's also got a joint there as well, so he can get his arm up a little bit. He's got 360 swivel at the elbow as well as a joint there. He's got 360 at the wrist as well as a joint there. And then in the chest, he's got some wiggle room. He can do 360 at the chest, but I think he also turns at the waist as well a little bit. So it's like there's 3 parts, if I'm not mistaken. And I could be wrong about that, but it just felt that way. But I'm trying to see with the camera. Yeah, it does look like that turns too. Yeah. So all 3 of those parts, if I'm not mistaken, can do 360. Or at least these 2 can. I'm sorry, you're not even looking at it. These 2, the chest and then the midsection, can do 360. So yeah, and they are separate from the waist, or from the bottom part of the crotch, I guess, for lack of a better term. Moving on down to the legs, he's got a great range of split right there. He can kick forward quite a bit, back, decent amount. He's got some thigh swivel. He's also got a swivel at the knee, which is 360. He's got a joint there as well. I think it is that double jointed? Nope, that's just single jointed, but still pretty good range of motion there in the knee. And then in the ankle, he's got an ankle rocker that can go side to side and front to back. And if I'm not mistaken, that is all the articulation you're going to get out of Cut Man. So according to writeups.org, Cut Man stands at 4 feet tall and weighs 100 pounds. This figure stands with the shears attached to his head at 5.5 inches tall, and then without the shears, he's around 4 1/8 of an inch, and then weighs a little more than 2 ounces. So now let's see how he measures up to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here they are with Mattel's Masters of the Universe Classics Cobra Khan and McFarlane's DC Multiverse Clock King. Here they are with Marvel Legends Wolverine and the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Archie Adventures series Krang on Shredder's body. Here they are with the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Return to New York 4-pack Raphael and Jada Toys Street Fighter DJ. Here they are with NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1987 animated series Raphael and Storm Collectibles Sub-Zero. Here they are with Figma's Samus and NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles knockoff colored bandana Mirage Comics Leonardo. Here they are with Super 7's TMNT Ultimates Donatello and SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Fies. Here they are with Hasbro's Star Wars Black Darth Vader and NECA's Alf. Here they are with Marvel Select's Rhino and DC Collect and Connect King Shark. Here they are with Jada Toys Iceman and Fireman. Here they are with Jada Toys Mega Man and Elecman. And here they are with Jada Toys Elecman and Jakks Pacific's World of Nintendo Dr. Wily. So when I think of Mega Man, usually my first thought is obviously the Blue Bomber, but then it goes to Rush, and then it goes to the evil Robot Masters. Usually one of the first ones that I think of is Cut Man. I wasn't entirely sure why until I started having to redo a few of these takes because of different reasons. But in doing that, I realized that probably the reason I would think of him first among the rest of the Robot Masters is that he was probably one of the easiest, at least to me in my like child brain, that I thought that I could draw. Because he's just like a dude with scissors coming through his head. And so that seems simple enough. And I'm pretty sure that might be why I have a love for him, like not like I'm in love with him, but like I have an appreciation. There we go. That's a better word for it. An appreciation for him. And not like I care if I'm in love with Cut Man. I mean, he doesn't look very nice, but in the sense of like his personality, but I mean, he's not bad looking. What am I doing? I'm talking about a robot. Anyway. And another thing that could have played a factor into my appreciation for Cut Man is that he was one of the first instances of a character using a part of their body as a fashion accessory as well as a weapon. And I don't know, maybe something in there are all together, who knows? But what I do know is that now that I've realized what I thought all these years were just ears on the side of his head are actually the finger holes for the scissors on top of his head, I love him even more. And then after spending some time with this figure, I think that Jada has yet again continued to kill it with this Mega Man line. The paint combined with the different plastics, again, do a great job of making this figure pop and feel real, like have a liveliness to it. And it just catches the light in different ways, like I said earlier, and it just is so cool. But the magic comes from the amazing face sculpts that breathe life into these figures in such a fun way. I mean, the expressions are just great, be it the frowning, focused face or the wild, side-eyed look. Both are just great and so well done, and make the figure a visual treat to not only pose and post on the shelf, but when you combine it with the actual hands that he includes, like the not just the fist, but the open hand and then the holding hand, it just opens up a world of possibilities and fun, dynamic options for posing this figure. And it's just really cool how all the parts come together to make it even better each time you switch it out with whatever part you got. And that is what's fun about action figures, and that's what Jada is totally nailing with this line. I mean, I'm trying not to like overhype this thing, but I've had so much fun posing this line with their different expressions, and so much so that if they put out a pack of different head and hand expressions and whatever, I'd be very tempted to pick one up because it brings so much fun to this hobby, and I just really appreciate it. And I think what I love most about it is that it's something very subtle. Like, you wouldn't really think it would have such an impact, but it does. And I don't know, I'm just a big fan. But speaking of fun, a lot can be said for action figures who look cool on the shelf, but when they're fun to pose on top of that, that's a whole other story. And this line has been a blast to pose, and Cut Man is no exception. I think having the big feet and the ankle articulation really helps to alleviate the frustration of posing figures in general, because when you have tiny feet that can't hold the pose on the table that you've been spending a little bit of time like articulating it just right, and then you try to get it to stand and balance and it just like falls over and then it just ruins everything. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for frustration that can totally kill a figure, in my opinion. And then their overall articulation is pretty good and flexible too. I mean, it's nothing super fancy, but or showy or anything like that, but it gets the job done and it does everything you want it to do, and they hold the pose, and they're great. Oh, and then also with those big feet, you can get some one leg poses pretty easily, which in my opinion is always fun. Cut Man looks great with the rest of this line, as well as other lines like Marvel Legends and various video game figures from Figma and Figuarts and World of Nintendo. So he's got a lot of versatility that he can go with a lot of other lines, because he doesn't have too wild of a look. He kind of looks a little vanilla, if in the best way. Overall, I absolutely love this figure. A lot of this line, like a lot of other action figure lines, uses very similar parts or bucks, and this basic buck for Cut Man is great and does the job of being a solid figure, but it's the face sculpt and paint coupled with the hands and the dynamic articulation that just makes me fall in love with this line each and every time I review one of these figures. Sure, they look fantastic on the shelf or in the box, but playing with them is where the true magic is. So if you're collecting this line and for some reason you're meh on the fence about Cut Man, you need to cut it out and get this guy. If you're collecting video game figures, then every figure in this line is for you, but if you have to be selective, Cut Man's a nice design that blends well with other lines, so you can't really go wrong, and he's distinctive enough to be recognized as a Mega Man character. Or if you just happen to collect scissors and scissor-related objects, either way, I don't think you will be disappointed with this Cut Man figure. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments. Are you a fan of Cut Man? Did you know all along that the ears were the finger holes? Let me know in the comments. And until then, else time.